this is Narrow Dreams, and this morning what I thought I would do is give you a little bit of a tour of Birdsong. Don't know about the rest of you, but I love looking at other people's narrowboats. You get lots of ideas, and it's just nice to see how everybody else fits their life into such a small space, basically, because when we come from a house, we all find just exactly how many possessions we've actually accumulated over the years that we don't really need. So we've been on Birdsong for 4 months now, so there are certain things that we've done that make it more how we want it, but there's still quite a lot of things that we are yet to do. So as we go around, I'll show you what they are, hence the good, the bad and the ugly. And I hope you enjoy this tour and having a look around Narrowboat Birdsong. This is Narrowboat Birdsong. As you can see, we're moored up in a marina with a pontoon at the side. So let's go and have a look. So if we come on to the bow, just being very careful on the jetty because it's quite frosty this morning. We can see that we keep some coal and kindling out on the deck. Also very important, we've got the ash bucket out on the deck because once there's hot ash in there, you don't want it inside because that's what produces your carbon monoxide, or one of the things that can. So you can see on top of the roof now, being in a marina, there's not an awful lot on the roof, but there's the odd thing, the brush and mop and a little sack barrow. There's also a little drinks table, mostly for use in the summer. You can see the aerial on top enables us to get terrestrial TV, and the little aerial at the front is for the car style radio we've got in the front. And if you look over there, that box on the end, the little shed thing, is ours to keep any odds and ends in that won't fit in the boat. Mostly we keep the anchor in there and the coal in winter. So this is the front, the bow. You can see that we're tied on there on the T-stud, and this is the gas locker. So if I open up, no, I can't open up the gas locker because it's frozen this morning. So these are the things that can happen. So we'll come back and have a look at that later. Out at the pointy bit, the bow, you can see that we've got double doors to enter. Those doors are only about 4 foot high, and as none of us are only 4 foot high, you do have to duck to get in. I find it's easier to come in backwards, because when you do come in, you're coming down 2 steps. So that's just the way I find it easiest. Obviously there isn't always a twinkling tree in the corner, but this being Christmas, we've brightened her up a bit. But you can see there the vents in the door. Now they can create a bit of a draft depending on how the wind's blowing. Sometimes that's quite nice because the fire gets really warm. But sometimes we just sort of move away from that end of the sofa and don't sit too close, because you can't really block them up. With having the fire, you do need the ventilation that's there. So that's the entrance. Now back to the steps. Like in most narrowboats, it actually lifts up. What you can see in there is the water pump. But the bottom step is actually just a storage thing. You might see down there that there's a bottle of pop. That's not because we're too lazy to move it. That's just because actually it's a pretty good place to keep it. It doesn't take up room in the fridge, but also being near the door and being on the floor of the boat, it keeps really cool down there. So it's a pretty good place to keep it, to be honest. You'll see there that we've got binoculars, because one of the things about living on the canals is that you see amazing wildlife. So obviously if we see anything, we can just grab the binoculars and have a look, and we can either go outside with them, or we can look through the windows and make the most of that. One of the cupboards here, as you can see, this is one of the most important cupboards on the boat because it's got the booze in it. But it's just making use of little bits of space like that to get the most storage space. Now, we have ourselves put in some storage because there wasn't really any when we moved on board, and having a 21-year-old, we also need all the modern technology. You can see we've got a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, a Nintendo Switch. We've also got a rather large television. I think it's a 42-inch. Now, I don't like that, and I've sort of said that I don't like that. I think it's too big for the boat, but for the minute I've been overruled, as it's actually one that came from the house, so I suppose it makes sense at the minute. But I would like to replace that with a smaller one. But we wouldn't use all these things if we were cruising, because they take too much power. On shoreline, it's absolutely fine and it's not a problem. And as we're usually based in a marina, that's why we've got those things. You can see on the end there, this thing. You can see what the temperature is there. It's 23 degrees in here, which is not bad, I don't suppose, for the middle of December. But that's a carbon monoxide alarm. They're not actually required by the BSS. Should be, because they're absolute lifesavers. But we have two. We have one up here and I'll show you the other one later. Same with fire alarms. Fire alarms are a regulation. But we've got fire alarms up on the roof, as you can see. We've got two of those as well. They're the type that don't require a battery to be replaced either. It's a permanent battery. Another storage feature is under each of the sofas. We do have a full-length drawer. So you can see at this end of the boat that the bottom half of the wall is still the wood, but the top half and the ceiling we have painted cream. We feel it sort of lightens the boat up quite a bit, and the bulkhead just either side of the bow doors we've painted a nice blue, which fits in with the rest of the decor of the boat. So we're quite happy with that. Over the Christmas period, when Neil's got time off work, we are going to finish the rest of the boat, hopefully, but that's how it is at the minute. Another job that needs doing, one to add to the ugly list, is actually this board at the back of the stove, which is a fireboard. Now, when we moved on board, the fire was here, obviously, but it had nothing at the back other than the wood. Now, we did ask our surveyor to check that that was okay. It did have a brand new safety certificate, but we just asked him to check that that was okay because we felt it might be a little bit close to that wall at the back, but he said it was absolutely fine. It didn't need anything doing to it. And the clearances were perfectly fine, but we're not really too happy with it. So we've got a fireproof board that Neil is going to put onto the back of the stove, and also he's going to put it onto the sides of those cupboards, because although they don't get too warm, when you feel them, they're absolutely fine. But again, it's just an extra safety precaution that we would like to take. Thawed out a bit, so we'll have a look in the gas locker. Quite heavy. So if we look in there, we've just got the hose in there, but that's the spare gas bottle. And under there is the one that's connected and has got the regulator on and everything. So if we drop that down, it makes quite a noise. And at the minute, we're actually filling the water, so you can see that's where the water filling point is to fill the tank up. Okay, if we carry on with the rest of the boat, you can see we've got another one of the storage units there, and you can fit quite a lot of stuff in that. So they're really quite useful. And we've got yet another sofa with another full length storage underneath it, and as you can see, it's very important to make sure that the animals are comfortable. So that's why the blanket's on that one. That tends to be their sofa. There's only one cat there, but as we go around the boat I'm sure we'll see more, because we've actually got 4 of them. So that's, if I look back along the boat, that is the saloon area. You can see my son sat on the step just filling the water up. So that's quite a decent space. It's got 2 full 3-person sofas in it, so there's quite a lot of sitting room in there, which is quite good. So then we come to the galley. So we've got all the pans hung up because that saves a lot of space. We've also got a slow cooker to cook things in, because that's quite useful, and also it saves the gas. Obviously that is what we normally cook in. That's the gas cooker with 4 hobs, and we've also got a tumble dryer. There's a bookshelf there, and then we've got the kitchen cupboards there. We do have a microwave. Again, they're like the PlayStations and things. We'd only use them when we're on shore power, because they take a bit too much power, but while we're here it's absolutely fine. Cups hung up so that again it's space saving, and a spice rack also hung on the wall. It's not normally covered in tinsel, obviously. This is our hatch, which actually I love, because we can close it up at night, but during the day it's an extra big window. In summer obviously we can leave it open. We've just got to try and train the cats not to jump out and straight into the canal. We also have a hanging thing for utensils, and one thing with a narrowboat is that there isn't quite enough room in the cupboard, so some does tend to spill out onto the side because it won't fit in the cupboard or the fridge. The mince, you can see, by the way, is defrosting for tea. It's not normally kept there. So you can see from this end of the boat, we haven't actually got around to painting it yet, but that's the plan. Over Christmas it will be painted, and the same goes for down the little corridor. That's not painted, but it will be. The sun's very bright from that porthole. So this is our bathroom, again with a porthole. It's quite dark in here with only having the porthole. So we've got racks up on the walls for storage, because when we came there wasn't anything like that, and all the things were just around the sink, and there really wasn't enough room. There's a mirror there. It's just a Thetford cassette toilet, a porta potty type one, and then the shower is there. So that's the bathroom, and it doesn't need to be any bigger than that. It's absolutely fine. We've got a shelf in the corner where the towels can go, so that's lovely. And outside the bathroom is actually a towel rail where we can hang towels to dry after we've had a shower. So if we come down here, we're coming down into the bedroom. Now, as you can see in the corner, there is a 22-inch, that's a 12-volt TV on the wall, so we can actually use that while we're cruising. You'll also see an Xbox One there. That's not so much for using games, that's for getting things like Netflix, Now TV, that sort of thing, just so we've got access, because that one isn't attached to an aerial. As I said, we will find more cats. And there's Myrtle, fast asleep on our bed. So we've got portholes in the bedroom. Up on the ceiling you can see another smoke detector. And on the shelf at the back, I don't know if you can see it because of the reflection, there is another CO monitor, a carbon monoxide monitor. So that's the bed. It is a full-sized double bed, which is lovely. It's ample for me and Neil. And there's a wardrobe in the corner, built-in wardrobe. That's the doors to the engine room. We will have a look in there later. There was a built-in set of drawers as well with wicker baskets. This is the space we've got for storing Christmas presents. So that will obviously soon be gone because we're only a week away. So we'll get that space back very soon. And as you can see, you tuck anything anywhere really. That's the Hoover tucked into the corner there. And we keep our shoes in a box or in 2 boxes that we keep on the step and just move when we're going into the engine room. And as you can see, it's a sleeping spot for another cat. That's Marmalade. So that's the inside of the boat other than the engine room. So we'll have a look in the engine room next. So we're now going to have a look in the engine room. As you can hear, the engine's running. It's warming up our water and charging the batteries. That there is a step to be able to get in, and that again is storage in there. So if we open up the engine room, now the back doors, it's Tradstern, so there is just a small plate standing out there. The doors are closed, as you can see, and the hatch is closed. But you do get a bit of lighting from the top. There's also a step there to get out. That's also a box that's got storage. So basically this is the engine room. We've got room to hang some coats and the life jackets hang up there. You can see one on the end there. The electrical isolation switches and things are there, and where we plug in the shoreline. I don't think you can see it very well, but there's an inverter behind there. There's also some shelves where we keep stuff. The starter battery is under there, and on that side are where the leisure batteries are, and you can see the exhaust just coming up from the engine and going out there. Now obviously when we're cruising, all this stuff will be moved elsewhere on the boat, but we do tend to use it as a little bit of a store when we're not cruising. So you know, you can actually see the control panels and things up there. So that's the engine room basically. So one last thing to show you is this is, I'm sat on the bed now, and this is where I look out of in a morning, and I don't think I'll ever tire of being able to look out of my bedroom window and see views like that. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and having a bit of a nosy around Birdsong. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a like, and if you'd like to see future videos, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.